So Liverpool lose their 68 unbeaten streak at home against Burnley, and I think it's a good time to start talking about whether or not it's time for FSG, or at least Liverpool to consider, or Liverpool fans to consider FSG out. So going on there, everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV. Shout out to everyone who's back on the channel. I'm not going to lie, this was kind of a last planned thing, but, you know, based on recent quotes that I've seen from Jurgen Klopp, which is basically just been confirming everything that I've been saying over the past few weeks, in terms of it's the board not backing the manager, it's the board making the decisions of not wanting to go and get a centre-back. It's not Jurgen Klopp making these decisions, and I'm sure a lot of you know that as well, but, you know, for those who don't know, that's basically came out now with a recent quote from Jurgen Klopp basically saying that, in long story short. So, yeah, it's quite devastating to see. And when you ask me the question, is it time for FSG to go? I know there's a lot of things that come into it, hence why I'm here to talk about it the day after we've lost our home records, and it's not because of that itself. The record, to me, and I can only speak for myself, it was a beautiful thing that I knew one day was going to end, but I didn't expect it to end anytime soon, and obviously it's ended now, and it is devastating. Don't get me wrong, it could have been worse. We just played United a week before. At least it weren't them, because obviously I wouldn't be hearing the fucking end of it. You know, Burnley are a worse team, but it's a little bit more bearable. Even though they're Brexit FC, it's more bearable. Basically, the point that I'm trying to say is, I'm not doing this video now, and I'm sure a lot of people haven't sparked this idea of FSG out just because we've lost our home record. It's not just because of that, because I know what people like to try and do in the comments, and that's not the only argument I'm trying to make. It's part of it, but it's not the only one. The record was, you know, the home record was fantastic, and yes, we never beat Chelsea, but it is what it is. So, when you're talking about, it's not just the record, you've also got to talk about that it's the recent form. It's not only the recent form over the past 4 or 5 games, it's the recent form over the past, probably since the return of lockdown, since the return of football. You know, when we had that break and we came back, Liverpool just didn't look the same, and you can say it's fans, and you can say this, that and the other, but I'm sorry, people, I'm just kind of not looking at that as a good excuse in terms of the performances that we've been having to put up with on the pitch, offensively at least. Defensively isn't the problem. I've said this for weeks. Yet that does not excuse, and I feel like FSG are going to use this as a scapegoat, that does not excuse that you do not go out and get a centre-back in this, you know, this, I was about to say summer, but winter transfer window. You need a centre-back. And how many times have I said that? Play that on a loop, you might as well, because I've said it enough times this season. That being said, it doesn't look like the request that I'm offering to Liverpool is going to be matched. And there's centre-backs available. There's been centre-backs available. We're just taking the piss. Now, I don't know if we're waiting until the last day. I'm bringing up the centre-back situation again as well, by the way, people, because if we don't get a centre-back, all that shows to me is lack of ambition, and really Liverpool are okay with being a top 4 club. To me, that causes nothing but problems in terms of the morale of the fans, in terms of what Jurgen Klopp might decide in terms of leaving possibly sooner. You know, maybe not this season or next season, but if the club isn't backing him, then why should he stay? When there's a Germany job there for him in a few years, or some other big job, that I'll actually thinking about, you know, backing him. Because it doesn't look like FSG are going to do that. So, like I said before, there's many things that go into it. Many more than even what I've just said. And do you know what? Before I actually come up with my conclusion, let me tell you another point about FSG. People bring up, oh, well, James, you're saying buy a centre-back. You're saying to spend money of a club that you don't own, that you don't know the finances of. You're right, I do not know the finances of my own football club, but I'm just going off the basics, and I'll even use other teams for this analogy. So Liverpool Football Club, the champions of England, may I remind you, bear in mind, if you're in the Premier League alone, you get You get money, you get a lot of it, and that is just for being in the Premier League. So if you win the Premier League, I would expect that to be a significantly amount higher than what you would if you're just participating in the damn thing. So not only that, not only have we just won the league and we're the champions of England, we also won the Champions League just the season before, and the season before is relevant based on many, many reasons, based on the fact that once we won that Champions League, we never bought nothing that transfer window. We bought Adrian, who we never even bought because he was free. We bought Harvey Elliott and we bought Sepp van der Berg. One of them's now a reject at the under-23s level, and the other one's smashing it at Blackburn and actually might be worth it in a few years' time. But for right now, it doesn't really do us a lot of favours. So that's the summer after we won the Champions League. And shout out to FSG because they have done great things, but I'm leading to a point here. So a summer later, the summer that's just gone, we get Thiago and Diogo Jota. Combined, that's 60 million because Thiago was 20 million and Diogo Jota was, well, 40 million. But I swear, unless I'm wrong, and correct me in the comments, I swear we're paying that in instalments. So I think it's a certain amount every season. Also take into consideration, last summer after we won the Champions League, we sold Danny Ings for 20 million, which in hindsight weren't a great decision, but that happened and we got 20 million for that. The summer just gone, we sold Ryan Brewster for 25 million, we sold Dejan Lovren for 10 million, oh, and didn't replace him, by the way. Oh, and we sold Kajana Hoover for 10 million to Wolves. So we've bought in Thiago for 20 million, so let's say that's Ryan Brewster for Thiago, because Ryan Brewster was 25. And then Thiago was 20. So we'll say that's a switch. And then Danny Ings, Kajana Hoover and Dejan Lovren all created the money for the Diogo Jota deal. That's absolutely okay. And also Kostas Tsimikas, I suppose. But that's only an extra 8 million. The point that I'm leading to is, why are Liverpool only spending the money that we're getting from transfers and not actually going into their own pocket and investing within to the club? Then people can bring up, oh, well, you do know we've just got a training ground, James. You do know that, don't you? I don't know. I wish I could give you the exact figures to properly back up my argument. But when you take into consider it, and they bring up season tickets as well, that's another one that I hear. Season tickets gives Liverpool the lowest amount of revenue out of all the major things that, you know, funds a club in terms of shirt sales, in terms of all this, that. I think they get 2 million a match. Per game for fans, tickets, food, all of that. And that's not even as high as the other aspects of where they receive funds from the club, such as the Premier League, such as the other things that I've just mentioned. So, when you put that into consideration, why are these owners not going and actually diving into their own pockets and choosing to basically say, well, do you know what, this club needs investment, this club needs better players, and do you know what, we're just going to have to sacrifice some money of our own, out of our own pocket to dive into. So now we're in January, we've spent no more money than what we've sold, really. And we're skint, and we've just won the league. And another thing, by the way, that I found out on Coppish, apparently this season, we've got record shirt sales ever for the club. Record shirt sales. Not a surprise with all the stars that we've got based on previous seasons, but all these things put into factor. How come we've got no money to spend? The only thing that says to me is Liverpool are lacking ambition, and not Liverpool, FSG is lacking ambition, and that's not the way I want my club to be run. Therefore, the conclusion of whether I want FSG to be out or not, and I'm not disputing they have done so many great things. And a few years ago, I wanted FSG out, and I changed my mind based on the things that they did, but they also got very lucky. And it looks like now they're not utilising on that luck. They're not utilising the great manager that they've got. They don't realise that if they stay the best club in the world, we can actually get better players, which creates more shirt sales, creates more wins, creates more eyes on the club because we're in the biggest competitions and we're winning the biggest competitions. Liverpool become the biggest club in the world. No doubt, if we can create an era of dominance like the way Man United did. But FSG just don't look like they're going to do that for Liverpool, and if that's the case, then yes, I am FSG out 100%. There's no doubt about it. Let me know in the comments down below what you are about the whole situation. You know, even the things with Gini Wijnaldum this season to let him go, I think that's stupid. Because I know that's not Jurgen Klopp's choice either. It's just, there's a lot wrong right now. So if we go out to this January transfer window and we haven't bought a player, I am officially FSG out. no doubt about it. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought. Before I do end this video though, and I think it's quite fitting with the fact we've just lost our 86 game, but yeah, 68 game unbeaten home record, bouncing onto the other team that we couldn't beat that record or take that record from in Chelsea Football Club, who obviously got 86 games at home. But there's been a debate recently, basically on 888 Sport, where should Frank Lampard be sacked? And basically, my friends over at 888 Sport told me, you know what, James, we'd love you to get this topic in your video, and I'd love to talk about it because with the fact that Frank Lampard at the moment, he's obviously not in a great position, and Chelsea fans have been condoling and sending me their sincere condolences over the past few days and weeks about the whole situation with Liverpool. Obviously, we've gone shit, Chelsea have gone shit, it is what it is. A month ago, we were in a title race, now we're not. Still don't like it though, Chelsea fans. However, should Frank Lampard be sacked? In my opinion, well, actually, before I give you my opinion, let me tell you what expressions my brother had to say.
It's with the kids, fam. But that's what he is, innit? He's a nursery teacher, kindergarten FC, fam. You know what I mean? But when you bring a nursery teacher to high school, when you throw him into the lion's den like Anthony Joshua, fam, what happens? Stressomania. Stressomania, fam. I'm telling you. You were on top of the world. You was at home in Kilburn sitting on top of your atlas, fam. Sitting on your little geography atlas on top of the world. Oh, Chelsea, we spent 220 million. Timo Werner. Fam, I can't even call him the German Shane Long anymore because Shane Long actually knows how to finish, fam. I hope Timo Werner don't do any post-match interviews because that guy couldn't even finish a sentence, fam. Yeah? Just know, blood. Man like Kai Havertz, fam. You were talking big about